He slid the folder across his mahogany desk without looking at me. The same desk I'd helped him move into this office 3 years ago, back when he was just making partner. "Just sign here, Dad," Michael said, tapping his Mont Blanc pen on the signature line. "Page 7, right at the bottom." I looked at the pen, then at my son. He was wearing that charcoal suit I'd bought him for his first court appearance, the one he said brought him luck. The watch on his wrist was new, a Patek Philippe. I recognized it from the jeweler's window downtown. That was at least $40,000 on his wrist, more than I spent on groceries in 2 years. "What am I signing?" I asked. "Estate protection documents," he said, already checking his phone. "Jennifer and I have been working with our financial advisor. Dad, you're 72. You need proper asset protection in place. Medicaid recovery, estate taxes, these things will eat everything if we don't plan ahead." Jennifer, his wife of 6 years, I'd never warmed to her, but I kept my mouth shut. "That's what you do. You trust your children to make their own choices." "I'd like to read it first," I said. Michael's jaw tightened, just for a second. Then he smiled, that lawyer smile he'd perfected in front of mirrors. "Of course. But Dad, it's 43 pages of legal language. Trust me. I went to law school for this. It's just standard estate planning, nothing you need to worry about. Trust me." How many times had he said that in the past year? "Trust me about selling Mom's jewelry. Trust me about refinancing the house. Trust me about updating your will." I trusted him every time. "I'll take it home and look it over," I said, closing the folder. "Dad." His voice had an edge now. "My assistant needs this filed by 3 p.m. I've already paid the fees. Just sign it. You're making this harder than it needs to be." I stood up, folder in hand. My knees didn't work like they used to. I had to push off the armrest to get vertical. Michael noticed. I saw his eyes track my movement, calculating, measuring weakness. "I'll bring it back tomorrow," I said. He didn't argue. He just looked at his watch and sighed, like I was a client who couldn't afford his hourly rate. "Fine. But Dad, I need it back by noon. I have a lot on my plate right now." I walked out of his corner office, past the brass nameplate that read Michael Foster, senior partner. The same last name I'd given him 72 years ago when I held him in the hospital, counted his fingers, promised his mother I'd give him everything. Everything. That's what he wanted now. I was starting to realize. I'd been noticing small things for months. The way Jennifer always changed the subject when I asked about their finances. The way Michael insisted on helping with my bills, even though I'd been paying bills since before he was born. The way he'd convinced me to add his name to my checking account just for emergencies. There hadn't been any emergencies, but there had been withdrawals. Small ones at first. 500 here, 1,000 there. Reimbursements, Michael called them, for things he'd bought for me that I never remembered asking for. I drove home to the house I'd bought in 1981. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, a garage I'd built myself. Margaret and I raised Michael here. His growth chart was still on the kitchen doorframe we'd stopped measuring when he hit 6 feet at 16. Her garden was still in the backyard, though I couldn't keep it up like she did. The house was paid off, worth about $1.2 million now, according to the assessment I'd received last month. Funny how Michael had been very interested in that assessment. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I'd helped Michael with his homework, where Margaret and I had celebrated anniversaries, where I'd sat alone the night she died, 3 years ago, wondering how I'd fill the silence. I opened the folder. Page 1. Legal jargon. Page 2. More jargon. Page 7. The signature line Michael had pointed to. I started from the beginning, reading every word. I'd been an engineer for 40 years. I knew how to read technical documents. I knew how to find what people were hiding in the fine print. I found it on page 16. Transfer of real property. The grantor hereby conveys all rights, title, and interest in the property located at 847 Maple Grove Avenue to the trustee, Michael R. Foster, for estate management purposes. My house. He wanted my house. I kept reading. Management authority. The trustee shall have sole discretion over all financial assets, including but not limited to bank accounts, investment portfolios, and real property. for the lifetime of the grantor. Sole discretion. That meant I'd have no say. In my own assets. My own home. I kept reading. Residency provision. The grantor may continue to reside at the property at the trustee's discretion, subject to annual review. At his discretion, I could live in my own house only if Michael allowed it. Subject to review. Like I was a tenant. I read all 43 pages. By the end, I understood. If I signed this, I'd own nothing. Michael would control everything, my house, my savings, my pension. He could sell my home, move me into a facility, spend my money however he wanted, all for my protection. The coffee had gone cold. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage. But I didn't call him. I didn't confront him. I'd learned something in 72 years. Angry men make mistakes, and I wasn't going to make a mistake. I needed proof. I needed to understand exactly what Michael was planning. I called James Chen. We'd worked together for 25 years at Morrison Engineering. He'd retired 2 years before me, went to law school at 60, passed the bar at 63. People thought he was crazy. James said he was bored. "Robert," he answered on the second ring. "How's retirement treating you?" "I need a lawyer," I said. "A real one." We met at his office the next morning. It wasn't like Michael's no mahogany, no brass nameplates. Just a small practice in a converted house, where James helped seniors with wills and estates. I brought the folder. James read it. All 43 pages. He didn't speak until he was done. "Robert," he said finally, "if you sign this, you'll be signing away everything. Your son would have complete control over your life." "I know. Do you understand what this means? He could sell your house tomorrow. You'd have no legal recourse." "I know." James leaned back in his chair. "Has he done anything else? Any other financial irregularities?" I told him about the checking account, the withdrawals, the reimbursements. James made notes. "How much total?" "I'm not sure. Maybe 30,000 over the past year." "Do you have statements?" "At home. Bring them. And Robert, don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. And for God's sake, remove him from your checking account." I went to the bank that afternoon. Different bank. Not the one where Michael had helped me open a joint account. This was where I'd kept my pension fund. Separate. Safe. I opened a new checking account. Transferred everything. Closed the joint account. The bank manager, a woman named Patricia who'd helped Margaret and me refinance the house years ago, noticed my hands shaking as I signed the paperwork. "Mr. Foster? Is everything all right?" she asked. I looked at her. She had kind eyes. Reminded me of Margaret. "My son is trying to steal my house," I said. I hadn't meant to say it out loud. But once the words were out, I couldn't take them back. Patricia didn't look shocked. She just nodded slowly. "I'm sorry," she said. "We see it more often than you'd think." "What do you mean?" "Elder financial abuse. Usually it's family members. Children mostly. They think they're entitled to their parents' assets before the parents are even gone." "He's a lawyer," I said. "A successful one. He doesn't need my money." Patricia smiled sadly. "It's not always about need, Mr. Foster. Sometimes it's about control. Or greed. Or they convince themselves they're doing you a favor." I left the bank with a new account number and a sick feeling in my stomach. That night, Michael called. "Dad, where's the paperwork? I told you I needed it by noon. I'm still reading it," I said. Silence. Then, "Dad, what's there to read?" I explained everything. "I want to understand what I'm signing." "Fine." His voice was tight now. "But I need it back by Friday. I've already paid the filing fees and the deadline. I'll get it back to you when I'm ready," I said, and hung up. I'd never hung up on Michael before. In 72 years, I'd never hung up on my son. It felt good. I spent the next week with James, going through my financial records. We found withdrawals I'd forgotten about. Loans Michael had taken from my account. $47,000 total. "Did he ever pay any of this back?" James asked. "He said he would. He said he was having cash flow issues with the new house." The new house. Michael and Jennifer had bought a place in Riverside Estates last year. 6,000 square feet. Pool. Guest house. I'd asked how they could afford it on a lawyer's salary. Even a senior partner's salary. Investments, Michael had said. Jennifer's father helped us out. Jennifer's father had been dead for 5 years. James made copies of everything. Bank statements, withdrawal records, the unsigned estate documents. Robert, I need to ask you something, James said. What do you want here? Do you want to prosecute? Because what Michael's done taking money from a joint account without your permission, trying to coerce you into signing over your assets that could be criminal. I thought about it. Thought about Michael in handcuffs. Michael losing his law license. Michael's children, my grandchildren, visiting their father in prison. No, I said. I don't want that. Then what do you want? I thought about the house on Maple Grove. About Margaret's garden. About the kitchen table where Michael had learned to tie his shoes. I want my house, I said. I want my money back. And I want him to know that I'm not a fool. James nodded. Then we need to be smart about this. Document everything. Build a case. And when he makes his next move, we'll be ready. Michael made his move 2 weeks later. He showed up at my house on a Saturday morning. Jennifer was with him. So was a woman I didn't recognize, professional looking, carrying a leather folder. Dad, we need to talk, Michael said. I let them in. Made coffee, like I always did. The woman introduced herself as Dr. Sarah Martinez, a geriatric care specialist. Your son is concerned about your well-being, she said, taking out a clipboard. He's mentioned some memory issues, some confusion about finances. I'm here to do a basic cognitive assessment. I looked at Michael. He wouldn't meet my eyes. What kind of assessment? I asked. Just standard questions, Dr. Martinez said. What's today's date? Who's the president? Simple math problems. It won't take long. I understood immediately. Michael was building a case that I was incompetent. If Dr. Martinez determined I had cognitive decline, he could use that to take control of my assets, maybe even get guardianship. This was his next move. I sat down at the kitchen table. Ask your questions, I said. She asked them. I answered perfectly. Date, president, math problems, memory recall. Everything correct. Dr. Martinez looked uncomfortable. Mr. Foster, your cognitive function appears to be perfectly normal. That's because it is, I said. Michael jumped in. But Dad, you've been so confused lately. Remember when you forgot about our dinner plans? When you couldn't remember where you put Mom's jewelry? I hadn't forgotten dinner plans. Michael had never made any, and I knew exactly where Margaret's jewelry was in a safe deposit box after Michael had suggested I let Jennifer borrow the diamond necklace for a charity event. I'm not confused, I said calmly. I'm just careful. Mr. Foster, Dr. Martinez said. I can't recommend any intervention based on this assessment. You're clearly. Thank you for your time, Michael interrupted, standing up. Dad, can we talk privately? Jennifer and Dr. Martinez left. Michael closed the kitchen door. What are you doing? He said. His voice was different now, not the careful lawyer voice, something harder underneath. I'm protecting myself, I said. From what? I'm trying to help you. That estate plan is for your protection. It's for your benefit, I said. You want my house. You've been taking money from my account. You're trying to have me declared incompetent, so you can take control of everything. His face changed. The mask slipped. I saw something I'd never seen before in my son's eyes. Calculation. Like I was a problem to solve, not his father. Dad, I don't know what you think is happening here, but I know exactly what's happening, I said. I had a lawyer review the documents. I know what I almost signed. Silence. Michael's jaw worked. You had a lawyer? He said finally. Dad, I'm a lawyer. I'm your son. Why would you need someone else? Because you're not acting like my son, I said. You're acting like someone trying to steal from me. He laughed. Actually laughed. Steal? Dad, everything I'm doing is to protect your assets for the family. For my kids. Your grandkids. Would you rather it all go to some nursing home or get eaten up by estate taxes? I'd rather make my own decisions about my own property, I said. You're 72 years old. I'm 72, not dead, not incompetent, and not stupid. Michael stood up. Fine, keep your house. But when you need help, when you can't take care of yourself anymore, don't call me. Jennifer and I have our own lives. We can't be responsible for you. I don't need you to be responsible for me, I said. I need you to be my son. He left. Didn't say goodbye. Just walked out and drove away in his BMW. The one I'd helped him pick out. The one I'd co-signed the loan for when his credit wasn't good enough. I sat at the kitchen table for a long time after that. James called that evening. Robert, I did some checking. Your son tried to file those estate documents anyway. At the courthouse. Without your signature. What? He forged your signature. Filed it 2 days ago. I only found out because I have a friend in the clerk's office who recognized the address she remembered processing your property deed years ago. Forged. My own son had forged my signature. Can he do that? I asked. He did it. Whether he can get away with it is another question. The documents are invalid without your actual signature and proper notarization. But Robert, this is fraud. This is criminal. I thought about Michael, about the baby I'd held, the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, the young man I'd sent to college, to law school, paid every tuition bill. What are my options? I asked. We file a complaint. We get the documents voided. We pursue charges for fraud and forgery. We get a restraining order if needed. And Robert, we get your money back. All of it. With a lawsuit if necessary. And if I don't want to do that, then he wins. He keeps trying until you're too tired to fight, or until you actually do become incompetent, or until you die, and he gets everything anyway. I thought about Margaret, about what she'd say if she were here. She'd say, Robert, that's not our son. Our son wouldn't do this. Figure out what happened to him and fix it. But I couldn't fix this. I couldn't fix Michael. All I could do was protect myself. File everything, I told James. Do whatever you need to do. James filed the complaint on Monday. By Wednesday, the documents were voided. By Friday, Michael had been notified of a pending investigation by the State Bar Association for forgery and fraud. He called me that night, screaming, You reported me to the bar? Dad, do you know what this could do to my career? I could lose my license. I could lose everything. You tried to steal my house, I said calmly. You forged my signature. You took $47,000 from my account without permission. What did you think would happen? I was trying to help you. The house would still be yours. I'd just be managing. Stop lying, I said. You're not managing anything for me. You're taking. There's a difference. Mom would be ashamed of you, he said. That one hurt. He knew it would. Your mother, I said slowly, spent her last 6 months terrified she'd end up in a nursing home, forgotten. She made me promise to stay in our house, to keep her garden alive, to not let anyone push me into some facility when I got old. You know who she was afraid of? You. She never said it, but I knew. She saw the way you looked at this place, calculating what it was worth. That's not true. She knew you, Michael, better than you know yourself, and she'd be heartbroken, but she wouldn't be surprised. He hung up. The investigation took 3 months. Michael hired a lawyer, a good one, expensive. He claimed it was all a misunderstanding, that I was confused, that he was trying to protect me from predatory care facilities. But the evidence was clear. Forged signature, unauthorized withdrawals, an attempt to fraudulently transfer property. The Bar Association suspended his license for 6 months. He was ordered to repay the $47,000 plus interest, and he was required to complete an ethics course before reinstatement. He never repaid the money. James had to file a civil suit to get it. Michael settled to avoid court, but the look on his face when he wrote that check, I'll never forget it. Pure hatred. Jennifer divorced him 2 months later, took half of everything in the settlement. The house in Riverside Estates got sold. Michael moved into a condo. He doesn't call anymore, doesn't visit. My grandchildren, I see them on Facebook sometimes, growing up without me. That hurts. That hurts more than anything. But I still have my house. Still have my independence. Still wake up in the bedroom Margaret and I shared for 40 years. Still tend her garden, even though my back aches and my knees protest. Sometimes I wonder if I did the right thing, if I should have just signed the papers, let Michael have control, trusted that he'd take care of me. But then I remember his eyes that day in the kitchen. The calculation, the coldness. That wasn't my son looking at me. That was a stranger who wanted something I had. I'm 80 now. 8 years since that day in Michael's office. I still live alone. Still manage my own affairs. Still sharp enough to balance my checkbook and remember where I put my keys. James visits sometimes. We play chess. He always wins. But I'm getting better. The house is quieter now. Sometimes too quiet. But it's mine. My name on the deed. My choice whether to stay or go. Last month I got a letter. From Michael. No return address. But I recognized the handwriting. Dad, it said. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I let greed blind me to what mattered. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know. I understand now what I did. Jennifer leaving. Losing the house. The bar suspension, I deserved all of it. You tried to teach me integrity my whole life, and I forgot. I'm trying to remember now. I hope you're well. I hope the garden is growing. Love, Michael. I read it 3 times. Put it in a drawer. Haven't responded yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But every morning, I wake up in my own bed, in my own house, making my own choices. And that's enough. That has to be enough.